To one and all. I welcome you to the Sitara seminar series. Today with us we have Ashwin. He is a co-founder, director, and lead partnerships for Society Science for Society Techno Services Private Limited, Mumbai. He completed his bachelor's in mechanical engineering from MGM's and JNEC Aurangabad and master's from technology and development Sitara. S4S Technologies is the United Nations award-winning integrated food company working in dehydrated food products. Today, he is going to share S4S journey with us. On behalf of the Sitara family, I welcome you, sir, and we can proceed towards the session now.
Thank you. Can I start now?
Yes, sir, you can start.
Okay, thank you. Am I audible properly?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. Sorry, there is some work going on in our office of furniture, so there might be some disturbance in between. So sorry in advance for that. Just stop me if there is any trouble in hearing me. So first of all, thank you for inviting me for Sitara seminar series here. It's my privilege to interact with the fellow Sitarians here. So I will I have got the presentation. You can just stop me anywhere. So I will just go to and fro in the chronology during the flow of the presentation. If you have anything anyone want to ask, you can just raise your hand and ask the question. So I will stop over there and we can discuss. So let's keep it interactive. So it won't be boring. Also, I'm not very good at presentations, so sorry about that as well. So starting from this picture, this is the first prototype of the solar dryer. We built something around 2011-12. So this was the starting of S4S formally. Informally, we started in 2008 as a group of friends, friends of friends, and our target was, or our objective was to use our technical skills, whatsoever we had at that time, to solve some societal issues and to create some impact. So that was the inception of S4S. S4S stands for Science for Society, and S4S Technologies is our brand name that we use for all the commercial activities now. The registered name is Science for Society Techno Services Private Limited. So we registered this as a company in around 2011, but the commercial activities start in 2013. So as I said, when we started, it was all a sort of haphazardly. We tried to solve, we tried to identify some issues and try to solve some problems. So our modus operandi was like this. So we would choose some competitions. We tried to find the problem statements, and then we try to build some equipment, technologies are for that, the solution for that problem statement, and we try to demonstrate over there. So the first competition that we won was Mondial Lego by I think UNESCO in 2010. So we had developed a solar powered UV disinfectant, especially for water treatment, and we got the, I think, gold medal for that, and the amount was something in the range of 5 lakh rupees. So that was the start of our journey. Till 2013, we kept on developing various other technologies. To name few are, we developed electricity-free egg incubator. Also, we developed a technology of, just a minute. We also developed the technology of electricity-free microbuter. This is especially for the incubation of the test tubes or the cultures, bacterial cultures for water testing and likewise. So slowly we started to shift towards the domain of agriculture processing, especially in the space of dehydration or drying. And we developed this solar conduction dryer, a dryer which is solely powered by solar energy without any electricity. As you can see, this is the first prototype, and we tried trying various agriculture commodities from like vegetables, fruits in this. And in around 2013, we applied for Dell Social Innovation Challenge. It was a global competition, and we won this competition. I think there were more than 2,000 shortlisted technologies from around 106 nations, and we got the first prize. So it was almost, I think, 35 to 40 lakh rupees. So that was the seed funding, and from there our commercial journey started. So when I say commercial journey, our model we tried to do was that we wanted us to be a research organization. We wanted to develop technology, you get the patent of it, sell the patent, use that money for R&D and develop other technologies. So we tried doing this with solar dryer technology. We were in talk with multiple MNCs throughout the globe, but we found out that there is no set ecosystem for the dehydrated food products as then. And if we sell this technology, if we sell the patent, this will be just another technology in the kitty of that MNC or that corporate, and they might not be interested to explore the commercial out of this because of the sheer lack of interest, as well as the volumes that at that time were not that lucrative from the perspective of the corporates. They were just interested because they wanted to add an IP to their basket of IP. So this was our understanding through all this process. And then we decided that we have got some money through this award now, and let's commercialize it first. We have set some number in our mind that we will sell this much dryers, and then we can think about again selling the IP or going back to these corporates and talking with them. So this is how the commercialization started. So from 13 to around 2016-17, we sold more than 5,000 dryers in 14 countries and 22 states of India. The dryers were performing very good. The results were very good. There were multiple publications coming out of this. Also, the commercial activity started growing up. But as the number increased, and also there were some government projects, especially in Maharashtra. One of it was MACP, Maharashtra Agriculture Competitiveness Program, and CAIM, Convergence of Agriculture Interventions in Maharashtra. So these were specially focused on value addition to the produce of farmers. And there our technology fitted very well. So we had almost 1,200 installations through these two programs. And after the installations were done through SHGs or FPCs, and there were bulk processing happening over there. There were 70 to 80 dryers at a single place, and that could process around one ton produce per day. And the volumes were high now. And because of the volumes, these FPCs or SHGs were not able to sell the produce, the dried produce. And they came back to us that you have sold us the technology, the dryer is very good. We know how to produce, we know how to cultivate, but we also know now how to process, but we do not know how to sell. And that's not our forte. And we are feeling it difficult. So please provide us market linkage. And we felt that this is our obligation now, because we have pitched the technology, we were confident about the technology, but we were not very sure about the market side. But we took it on us, and we started to buy back this dried product from them in 2016. So this was a major pivot in S4S journey. Once we started to buy back the produce, we also started to find the avenues to sell this produce to products. The volumes were quite big, but not huge, so that we can explore the export market, which was very big. Also, they were not so small that we can sell it to any mom or pop shop. So we targeted the food processing industry, we targeted some niche products and started to sell them. And we found out that till then we were pitching the technology and tried to create impact out of it. But soon we understood that if we give the market linkage, there will be the pull effect to the technology, and we need not to push it. We need not to pitch it. This will gradually go on the ground, and we can start. We can see the impact that we intend to see, and thus the pivot happened. And also during this, I took admission in Sitara. So the sole purpose of coming to Sitara was to understand what we were doing and understand the nuances of the rural development. And also the best thing about Sitara was that it was not seeing development separately. It was seeing that how the technology can impact and can start the development. I remember the first, I think, introduction by Date sir, that this is technology and development, not technology development course. I hope everybody of the student fraternity have heard this from Date sir and all other staff, and that was the core thing also. So it helped me as a person as well as S4S to understand what impact means and how to measure it, and how to go after the technology, how to promote it, how to do the extension work, and how to deploy the technology on the ground. So the Sitara pedagogy was very much helpful in S4S journey, and we feel that Sitara is part of S4S. And from 16, I shifted to Aurangabad. So we decided to go to the grounds and understand what is the ground reality actually. Till then, we were operating from Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai, or UDCT, Mumbai. I shifted back to Aurangabad. As I had did my graduation here, I was close to this city, and I started working with the farmer groups here. Because of this, my MTD2 was also delayed, and I was only able to finish it in 2018. So once I shifted back, again, as I said, the pivot that the S4S took from a technology research organization or company towards a food tech company now. It happened around 2016-17. And I started to build various models on the ground along with the women entrepreneurs that we developed in the Aurangabad district. Also the farmer groups, we had few of the implementation partners, some NGOs working over here. Also, we had support from various grant agencies that we will see in the course of presentation. And this was overall the journey, and this is how S4S started and pivoted from a tech-driven company towards a food tech company. And now I have an elaborated presentation, but I will just go through and then we can go for the Q&A session. So I think why we choose the agriculture, because it is biggest source of livelihood in India. Again, all this data, I think Sitarians are very well versed with it, so I will not repeat this. I just wanted to point it out this, that almost 40% of the agriculture produce is vested in the supply chain, especially the horticultural crop, and it is attributed mostly to the perishability of the product, lack of storage, like inefficient or insufficient logistic available, as well as the financing infrastructure for the technologies which could save the produce. And we are losing almost 17 billion USD to this food losses. So what we are trying to do, or what S4S is right now. So after multiple pivots, we call ourselves as a full stack food processing platform. So what we are doing here in S4S is we are supplying convenience-driven food ingredients to F&B industry, that is food and beverage industry, through tech-driven farm gate sourcing and processing. So this is, we call it as village level sourcing and in situ processing. So where the produce is, we want to process it as close to the area of cultivation. So I will just not go into details. So these are some of the supply chain issues which we can discuss during the Q&A. So right now we are seeing two sides of the problem. This first problem is from the supply side, where there are too many stakeholders and there are margin leakages, lot of handling of the produce, lots of hand change of the produce happens, and due to which the food losses elevates. From the demand side, the food industry is not the processed food industry is still in a nascent stage. It is growing at a very good ARR, but they are having problems from the sourcing side. So we also identified what are the issues the food processing companies are having and tried to address this through our business. So some of these are like they want to reduce the labor cost and handling of the product. They wanted to have a consistent food quality. Just for example, to give a HoReCa segment. HoReCa means the hotel, resort, and canteens. So all the Indian cooking needs onion, and the rate of onion is from like 50 paisa per kg to 70 rupees, 80 rupees per kg. Throughout the year, there are multiple cycles happening depending on the demand and supply cycles. And but the hotel, resort, and canteens cannot change their menu. Onion is one of the key ingredients. That's why they also cannot change the recipe. If the menu needs or the recipe needs the onion in it, it needs the onion. Either it is of 1 rupees per kg or 70 rupees per kg. They have to buy it, they have to put it. So they need consistent quality, but they need it as a level price at a uniform price range, which could not be provided by the fresh produce. So here our solutions of dehydrated produce are very well placed and very well accepted by the HoReCa segment now. So this is a traditional supply chain of the produce, how it reaches to the institutional customer. The first one is by Ninja Card, which is one of the big name in the startup world now, especially in the agri-tech. Second one is the traditional food processing route. There are multiple players in it, and there are margins added to each and every hand change. So in total, we have identified that there is almost 45% margin from farmer to the institutional customer. And in our model, we are doing procurement ourselves, and we are also doing the processing ourselves. So we are doing village level procurement and village level processing both. And thus we are in total able to capture 45% margin. And even though we have decentralized the processing, we can compete with the big players like the Mahua. If you know, there is a place Mahua in Bhavnagar, and it processes more than 90% of the onion in the world, dehydrated onion. There are almost 70 processors with more than 200 tons per day capacity. So it's a huge, it's a mammoth. But even though at their scale of production, their processing per kg is around 4 to 4.5 rupees, while our processing cost is in the range of 3 to 3.5. The quality of the produce is much better as compared to the Mahua product. The pungency of the onion, just to give the example, is much higher in our processing than the traditional Mahua processing, those who are using, I think, steam drying for the drying of onion flakes. So this is how we are capturing the margin. Also, because of the food processing platform that we have, we are able to reduce the food losses being close to the processing area. Also, the logistic cost we can reduce drastically. Just to give an example of tomato, the ratio of dried to fresh tomato or fresh to dried tomato is 20:1. So when we dry 20 kg of tomato, we are getting 1 kg of dried tomato. So when we are transporting 1 ton of tomato from farm to any, say, electric dehydration unit, we are transferring 950 kg of water from farm to that place. While we are evaporating this, or we are dehydrating this tomato on the field itself, or very close to field, like in the radius of 5 to 10 kilometers. So we are reducing the logistic cost to very high extent. So these are the way how we are capturing the margin and aggregating the margins, and we are distributing it through the to all the stakeholders. We are providing farmers good rate. We are providing MSP to the farmers. We are providing livelihood to the rural women through this processing. And we are also providing processed food or dehydrated food products to the HoReCa segment as well as institutional food processing companies at better rate than the standard centralized processing unit. So this is the crux of what we do right now. So S4S buys agri produce from the farmer through its village level collection centers, or VLCC as we call it. These are usually rural women identified and trained who have space of say 500 square feet in the village where they can store the produce from that village. Typically, we also are tech driven now. So we have digital platforms like apps. We provide these women with a smartphone. We provide them the price or the cost at which they can procure the produce at that particular day, with averaging from the local 4 to 5 mandis. Just give me a minute. Dada, Shinkai. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah. So because of this, the price discovery happens at the village level itself. So farmer doesn't have to go from one place to another place, or he doesn't have to tackle multiple platforms from which he is also getting the prices now at the village level. Also, he doesn't have to travel or transport this produce of his to various buyers or at the mandis or APMCs. He can sell it to our VLCC women. So after this, the grading and sorting of this produce happens, especially for the horticulture products. Currently, we are concentrating on 5 products: onion, ginger, turmeric, garlic, and tomato. So we grade it. We sell the A-grade produce in the market at better prices because of grading. The quality is top-notch. Then B and C-grade produce, we revert it back to the women, who are having our dehydration unit installed at their home. These are also, this could be the women from the same village or the side by village, where this food processing units, solar-based food processing units are installed. They wash the produce, cut it, dry it using the solar dryer, and pack it. This is usually a weekly transaction. Each week, on a particular day, the vehicle goes over there and gives them the fresh produce and brings back the dried produce from them. This dried produce then goes to a centralized factory where the sorting, grading, pulverization, or granulation, metal detection, all these activities happen. And after this, this quality checked produce, dried products, are sold through various brands. So currently, just to give example, if you are eating Maggi, and Maggi is one of the favorite food of IITians, so the masala in Maggi contains almost 20% of the produce processed by our women. If you are eating Saffola oats, the masala is developed by my R&D team, and we are providing almost 30 to 40% of the ingredients of that masala to Saffola oats. You are traveling by flight, so in flight, the in-flight menu is provided by Taj Stats, and we are selling them dried onion and dried garlic, dried tomato now. If you go to Taj, even in Taj, we are selling dried onion now. So the quality of the dried onion is at par, and thus it doesn't disturb the taste while as compared to the fresh produce. So just to give some examples, if you are eating the Szechuan chutney, so there are these bits which we feel in our under our teeth. These beets are of ginger, and all this ginger is processed by the women in Aurangabad, the rural women in Aurangabad. So we are almost providing 80% of these ginger beets to Chinks. So total supply, whatever they need, out of that 80% is supplied by S4S. So this is the solar conduction dryer. This is the current version, and there are some additional equipment that we provide along with the solar dryer. First one is the cutting machine, vegetable cutting machine with capacity of 50 to 100 kg per hour to chop the veggies. Then we are having a primary dryer which runs on a very small fan. So it uses the ambient air as a drying media to evaporate the free moisture, and the bound moisture or the cell bound moisture is evaporated using the heat by solar conduction dryer. So this is very basic technology that we are using, but this is very efficient, and as compared in terms of OPEX as well as CAPEX, this is at par or better as compared to the coal-based, steam-based commercial dehydrator. So as I said, currently we are concentrating on onion, ginger, tomato, garlic, and turmeric. Soon we will be also processing potatoes, sweet corn, green peas, as well as coconut and other products like French bean. But the quantum is small as compared to these first 5 things. Also, we are procuring, because we have these VLCCs now, and we are also started to procure the grains. So in grains, we are procuring the cereals like maize or jowar, bajra, small millets also we are procuring. And we have also started some small processing of this, like using the Sodexo grade cleaning or the cleaning machines, and then packing it in the bags of 30 kg and then selling it in retail. Also, we are doing some primary processing on the products like maize, like preparing maize grits on the field itself using some modified version of our vegetable cutters. So soon we will be also starting, right now we are doing dehydration, but we will be also doing grain processing. Likewise, in the case of pulses, we are procuring tur, moong, and we have also developed a process to make dal out of this on the field itself. And this will be also done by the rural entrepreneurs who have our technology. Just to give example how the value engineered product works. So tomato for curry preparation. So this is the typical cycle, how we go through all this processing. So first, the farmer produces the tomato, VLCC procures it from the farmer. Then it is graded. A grade is sold. B grade, C grade material is given back to the woman entrepreneur who has got our dryers. She dries it. All this material comes to central factory where the quality is checked and the powder of the tomato is made. And this powder then we sell to the customer like hotels or the food processing industry, which use it into their recipes or into their ready to eat product. So this is a typical cycle how the workflow is. So how this is done especially. So we identify the needs of the industry and we develop the food ingredients which are suitable for this F&B industry, and we especially find the unmet needs of F&B industry. So we are one of the pioneer in selling and introducing these dried products, especially the onion, to the HoReCa segment. So we have these SOPs ready. We also do on the need basis, like once we get order of French bean, and that was a big order from Marico, I think, for the Saffola oats. And we did all the backend from finding the farmers, doing the contract farming with the farmers, getting the produce from them, sorting, grading it, drying it, and selling the dried product to Marico, and then they put it into their Saffola oats. So all this is ready. The infrastructure is ready. The mechanism is ready with us. We also have state-of-art food processing, food science lab, and a very good team. Two of my co-founders are specialists in food processing, food science, and they develop various SOPs which are suitable for farm level process. So this is our strength. Also, two of my co-founders are hardcore engineers, and they develop various technologies, the prototypes, and these technologies are now quite stable and very efficient in doing the farm level processing. Also, recently we have started to go digital, so we are also trying to IoTization of these hardware units, so to control the quality during the process itself. So if anybody wants to discuss how these margins we are competing with the centralized processing, we can discuss later. So currently we have, till 2017 we were bootstrapped and working using the grant money or various funds and awards. In 2017 we actively started to seek for funding. In 18 we closed our first funding, that is seed funding, by Factory Ventures, which is managing the fund of Rockefeller Foundation and Tata. Then second bridge round was raised in 2020 during the pandemic period, and Acumen was one of the investor in us in 2020, and this year we are raising the Series A, which is almost $6 million USD, and we have received multiple term sheets, and we are in between negotiations, and might be in 2 months' time the money will be in our account and we can start our scale up now. So through this we are targeting 10x growth and trying to build the capacity multifold. We are also trying to build a team which can be suitable for this growth. In the supply chain, backend supply chain, we want to grow our network to 1 lakh farmers and 9,000 women entrepreneurs. Currently, there are 900 women working who are using our solar dehydration units. Their concentration is more in Aurangabad district in Maharashtra, but we also have presence in Odisha, the tribal districts, Koraput and Raigada. In Andhra, we are working in Madanpalli area, which is biggest hub for tomato. In Uttar Pradesh, we are working in Hardoi cluster, which is again a good cluster for tomato. So this is the impact that we have created till now. This is a little bit old. Currently, in today's date, we have more than 800 micro entrepreneurs. Yeah, so we are also contributing to the sustainable development goals. This is my team. So Vaibhav is our CEO. Vaibhav, Sheetal, Ganesh, me, Tushar, and Nidhi are the co-founders, 6 co-founders. Mr. Mahesh Kankal is the senior most person in our team, and he is ex-Bosch. He was leading the agri department and joined us, and he helped us to grow multifold. Piyush is also IITian from IIT Kanpur, and he is our tech lead. So this is about us. These are some of the fundings we have received, ecosystem partners, awards which we have received. We were featured in Forbes 30 Under 30 World Economic Forum. Ashden, we won Ashden 2020 in sustainability and renewable energy segment. Recently, last month only, we have won Zayed Sustainability Prize in food segment. So this is about us, and I think we are open for question answers.
Yeah, thanks, Ashwin. It was amazing to see the overall journey of S4S, and I'm sure students will have some questions, or they are overwhelmed with this success. I don't know.
Yeah. They might be asleep as well.
You know that better as Yes, Samir.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. Very nice presentation. I'm from second year MTech Sitara. So I wanted to ask, sir, as you said that you are able to provide services at very affordable rates as well as better rates. So how do you balance it with the profitability of the organization so as to make the organization sustainable? Like what happens is that in view of providing very low rates, the profitability suffers. So how do we address that?
Basically, as I mentioned, that we try to do a ethical business. We want to give each and every stakeholder his due. And as I mentioned, we have tried to aggregate the margins which were spreaded in the various aspects of supply chain. And that's how we are profitable, even if we have a scattered or decentralized processing units. So we are net positive right now in terms of profitability.
Okay.
I hope I addressed your question.
Yes, yes. I had one more question. In the end, you showed us a pic regarding the ecosystem partners as well as the partnerships which you have done. So in such an enterprise like S4S, what is more important, like funding, ecosystem, or there is some other aspect which becomes the important aspect for running such an organization?
So since 2008 to 2018, we were bootstrapped. So either we, and again, we all 6 co-founders come from very humble background. So we didn't have any support in terms of money from our families, or so we did the simplest route to go with the competitions, get some awards, write some proposals to various grant agencies, try to pitch in our technology to them, and thus we were working for the first 10 years. And we came to this funding ecosystem only in 2017-18. That is almost 10 years after the inception. So we were never after the raising the funds. So typically, the startup concept is like this: you just make a presentation, pitch it at various platforms, might be the Shark Tank on other pitching events, and try to get the funding. But in person, I don't think, or I don't like this way of raising the funds. I think first you need to do the minimum viable product and introduce it to the market. And you should have some presence in market as first, and then you can go for the funding route. Obviously, it is not practical for all the technologies or all the concepts of startup, but especially in the impact space where we are working, this will be better as compared to directly going for the funding and diluting the equity from the first day.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Ramprasad, you can ask your question.
Congratulations, Ashwin. Really wonderful product and wonderful initiative, in terms of livelihoods, environment, and yeah, multiple ways it is good. So wonderful. Compared to different types of drying, like even in comparison to steam drying, or in comparison to maybe electric drying, does solar drying help in preserving more nutrients, or is there something like that, or it is very similar to other types of drying? That is one part of the question. And second part of the question is, in comparison to direct eating of a particular vegetable or fruit, in what proportion is eating a rehydrated dried fruit or vegetable, like what is the difference there? So both I had this doubt. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Ram Prasad, for your kind words. Typically, almost all the dryers the output of the dryers or the quality of the output of the dryers is like 80 to 90% similar only. In dehydration, we cannot save the water soluble vitamins. Other than that, most of the vitamins and other nutrients are intact. So it's same. Again, regarding eating fresh produce and eating dried produce, it is same as eating the raw salad or cooking the veggies and then eating it. So most of the nutrients are heat sensitive, and thus they deteriorate once we cook it. So it is similar. There are definitely some losses in terms of nutrients, but it is better than having nothing. And in some cases, like in case of turmeric, the traditional process, we cannot eat the raw turmeric around the year. We have to dry it and then use it as spice in our recipes. So in some cases, dehydration is well set and well set process, and it is part of the food culture. But in some cases, like in case of tomato or in case of onion, it is newly introduced.
Thank you.
Yeah, hello, sir. Thanks for the insightful presentation, and congrats to you too. And my question is, so do these women, whom we call as micro entrepreneurs, so do they have to buy these dryer machines for drying from you?
Yeah, so sorry, I just missed that point. So recently we have also developed a very special financing tool for these rural entrepreneurs or the micro entrepreneurs, as we call them. So we have tied up with a few rural regional banks, and they have mandatory to lend some money in the priority sector. And agriculture and food processing is one of the priority sector. But the NPA, the non-paying asset percentage is very high in this priority sector lending. And that's why they are reluctant, but due to the mandate, they have to lend. So what we have done, we have given a guarantee to the bank on behalf of these women that we will provide them work for dehydration, the raw material for dehydration, and assured income for dehydrating the food products for 5 years. And we will take the responsibility of paying the EMI on their behalf. So what we do, we take this woman to the bank, they do their KYC. We have already done our KYC, and then only we take this woman to the bank. So there are like 99% chances of she getting the loan or the finance. Once this is done, the typical cost of the machinery is 90,000 rupees. It varies a little bit depending on the feature. 90% of it is financed via banks, and a typical interest rate is in the range of, if we go to the commercial bank, it is in the range of 14 to 16%. In case of RRBs, it is in the range of 9 to 12%. So also we have pitched in NABARD, and they have provided interest subsidy to their agriculture innovation program, and almost 4% interest subsidy that they have provided to this rural women. So ideally, these women are getting this loan at 5 to 6%, which is one of the lowest interest rate for this kind of entrepreneurship. And again, they do not have to pay this from their pocket. So what we do, if the woman is processing, say, 100 kg per day, and for around 25 days a month, she earns something in the range of 7 to 8,000 rupees. Out of that, we deduct the EMI not more than 20%, so almost in the range of 1,800 to 2,000 rupees, and we pay directly to the bank. And the remaining money, that is around 5,500 to 6,000 rupees, we pay to the bank of to the account of that woman. So the bank is happy; they are getting their EMI. Just in case, especially in the monsoon when the dehydration is not working, typically the dehydrators work for 250 to 300 days, depending on the geography and the weather conditions. We pay the EMI on behalf of that woman. when she is not working, or the dryers are not working, or we fail to provide her the raw material in any case. So there is no chance that she is going to be defaulter. Also, in worst case, even if we fail, our venture fails or the company fails, the machines are hypothecated to the bank. So the worst case scenario is that everything fails, the bank will come and take away the machine and close the account. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. I think there is a question from Praveen. He is asking that, have you encountered with any policy of state government or central government supporting your activities, or existing policies are hindering your intervention at field level? Yes, for both. As I mentioned that our venture started through these government agencies, MACP and CIM in Maharashtra especially. Also the agencies like Atma and NABARD, they are supportive to this kind of activities. Also, we have received funds from various government agencies and semi-government agencies like FICCI and CII for developing the technology as well as taking it to the field. So in that sense, the government agencies were supportive. The existing policy that is hindering is of the MSCB. So I think if Priya ma'am can help us over there. So our machine, that is the primary dryer, is having a fan, centrifugal fan of 150 watts. And the cutter machine is typically consuming electricity like a home mixer, not more than 200 watts. So in total, 350 watts of electricity is needed. But these rural women are using their home domestic connection for this. And at some instance, some wireman comes and he says that this is commercial activity, your meter is domestic. So you have to shift or you have to pay the bribe, and these kind of things are starting to happen because now it is going on scale, and people are seeing this now. So we have started talks with the Mahadiscom to get some special permission to use this, or change their meters to the commercial one. But changing the meter to the commercial will comes with the increase in the electricity rate as well. So we are trying to get some slab, special slab. We succeed in getting this slab in Andhra Pradesh. So there is a special slab for cottage level industry and subsidized electricity through the domestic meter they have permitted for our project. Same has happened in Odisha, but Maharashtra we are finding it difficult. So these are pros and cons of government agencies' interventions. I hope I'm clear on that. Harshit is asking what is the level of dehydration required. So typically we dehydrate the produce in the range of 10 to 12%. So how you decide the margin or selling price? So there is this mechanism. So first is the raw material price, the supply chain cost, the processing cost, the energy cost, the HR cost, everything is added, and thus we decide the selling price for the produce. The current capacity is 25 tons per day processing capacity as of today, and we are increasing rapidly. So how do you manage unmet demands? I'm not very clear about this. Whose unmet demand? If it is of F&B industry, we understand, we are in constant touch with these HoReCa segment as well as processing industries. We try to find their pain points and try to address that through our intervention. There are problems in logistics. The cost of logistics is one big thing. The fossil fuel prices have increased, and we are trying to have some innovative local logistic models. Like we are trying to bring in the bullock carts for transporting 1 or 2 tons of material from our VLCCs, village level collection centers, to the nearest center. and we are trying to assist these bullock carts by some electric hub motors. So going on some trials, if somebody from Sitara wants to take it as project MTD, we'll be happy to sponsor it and mentor it as well. So yeah, so you mentioned about conduction dryer. Is it more effective than convection dryer? Yes. So here we are using the tray as the heating media, and the food product is directly in contact with the tray, which gets heated, and the heat is transferred via conduction to the product, which we are drying. And as compared to convection dryer, the results are better. The drying time is less, and the quality is slightly better. I think Lakshmi Hegde is asking the payment for the lowest paid employee in our institution. So I think the lowest paid employee must be in the range of 3 lakhs per annum. Those are the field executives who work directly on the field, and these are employed from the villages where we work.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, so I think I have finished the questions from the chat. Oh, some question is popping up. Yeah, so both things go simultaneously. We also develop some products, and then we find some the market for that product, as well as we find the need in the market, especially for the food products, and then develop that product so that it meets the unmet need of the market. So both way the things go on. Yeah, so using the IoT for the solar dryer, this will be especially in the case of the primary dryer, where we are using the fan and doing the ambient air drying. So what happens, even if after certain stage of dehydration, even if we pass the ambient air, the drying stops, because the free moisture is taken out now, and only the bound moisture is there in the product. And to remove the bound moisture, we have to shift the material to the solar dryer. So in that way, we are trying to use some sensors to check the real-time moisture content of the product, and then give an alarm or give an indication to the the woman entrepreneur to shift the product, semi-dried product, from the primary dryer to secondary dryer, that is solar dryer. So these are some of the ideas that we are working on.
So there is a question from Ajay in the chat.
Yeah, go on.
Swapnil, please go ahead.
Okay. Hi, Ashwin. So my question is, can S4S check residue of the tomato, onion, and other agriculture food?
Right now, we are not doing that, but we are building the traceability now. First, to track what they are using, and then to minimize the use of pesticides. So we are working on that. Our farm team is working on that. So we are also providing farm level advisory. We have tied up with various startups working on this type of projects, like remote sensing and farm the weather advisory and so on. So through that, we are also tracking what kind of agri inputs the farmers are using, and trying to build end-to-end traceability. But it's in a very nascent stage currently.
Okay, thank you. And one more thing, that the set of farmer is fixed, yeah, farmer get changed according to
Farmer change, typically the area is fixed, So in some case, like in case of ginger, we have done agreements to more than 1,000 farmers. In case of tomato, it is typically based on the farmer brings his produce, the VLCC checks the quality and tells the rate. If both agree, the farmer sells the produce to us, or else he sells it somewhere else. So both ways, but the data of farmer is along with us.
Okay. Thank you.
Is Ajay?
Yes. Hello, sir. I wanted to ask that during the initial years of your working on technologies, how did you manage to earn and continue to work when you were having no other did you have also have a job and you were managing these things?
So after during our graduation days, as I said, we were competing in various technical events, and the prize money that we were earning, we use it to do the R&D. After graduation, I did job for 1.5 years with Kirloskar and saved some money that we used again for R&D activities. And after that, typically we were dependent mostly on the grants and awards. So that's a very good way of starting, especially something in the impact space. So, sorry, there are ample grants available of INGO, various grant agencies like Bill Melinda Gates Foundation, USAID, UKAID, and so on. And if there is the technology is good and we can convince them that we can take it to the field and create impact, there is a lot of money available over there. But it's not very low hanging. So you have first to prove the worth of the technology and your intentions. And once you go into that network, they also recommend you to various platforms. And afterwards, it becomes easy. After some time, we have stopped writing the proposals because we tend to lose the commercial angle then. The grants are soft money. So many of the organizations, more than 3-4 decades old, in some of them, I worked as a research associate. They are lost into this grant and funding. They even after 3 decades, they are not able to visualize the commercial angle or the commercial sustainability out of their products or the technologies that they have developed. So we decided, we had this hard conversation and hard call in 2016-17 that we will stop writing proposals and we will focus on receiving the funds through the commercial way. And this has helped us a lot because grant is always a soft money. We were not that hardcore on scaling up till then. But once the funding is, the commercial funds entered into our system, they also started to push us. They also started to take out the inefficiencies from our system and build in the sustainable commercial venture. So in the initial days, grants and awards are good things, but we have to decide when we have to shift to a commercial funding source.
And Ramprasad, please go ahead.
I have one more question. So you are 6 co-founders in your team. So how did you manage to keep the coordination and the cohesion well in all this long period? That's my question. Yeah.
Thanks for the question. Actually, we have our roles defined, and all of us are of very different nature. So I was very keen to work on the field, to come towards village. Some of my partners were not at all keen to leave Mumbai. So those who didn't want to leave Mumbai, they were also good in sales and managing the key accounts. So they stayed behind, but they bring in the customers. While I was interested in going back to the roots, so I came back and I built the backend system. So our interest as well as our abilities didn't cross anywhere till now. Touch wood. So now we have created various business verticals, and we are running different business verticals separately, and now we are each other's client and vendor relationship. So this is how we have stuck together till now, and also the mission vision statement is quite clear in our mind, and we are always clear why we are here and what we want to achieve. So that has also helped. Also, our CEO and our co-founder Vaibhav is like a binding force who have kept us together till now. So touch wood. So
Thank you, Ashwin.
thank you.
So, Ashwin, I mean, it was very nice to know about all this. I mean, just for the students to get more benefit out of this, I think some of the questions were pointed towards that aspect, that how did you survive or manage all these years. So maybe you can also share some low points. I mean, now you are at a high point and successful in your venture, but throughout this journey, did you face any specific setbacks or difficulties, and how did you overcome those? I think because that would be the kind of a learning and lessons that students may want to know about, because now everyone knows about the success of this venture, but you are in a very competitive world, and I'm sure there would be other groups or initiatives also working in the similar space and fighting for their own niche. In fact, I was just wondering, because you have the dehydration approach, and some of our other alumni, they are working on cold storages, for example.
Yeah,
so both are interventions in the overall supply chain of perishable commodities.
Yes.
So, how did you do how did you decide that you want to put all the eggs in this basket? This is the technology to go for, and then you want to build on this. Were there any difficulties in taking those kind of decisions, or did you face any specific problems or setbacks during that time? So, even knowing those difficult days would be very helpful for any.
Yes, definitely, sir. So there were no failures as such, but there were few setbacks. So the first setback was in the terms of we were actually, when we started, we were 8 co-founders, and 2 of other co-founders were working on technologies which were not in the agri domain. They were working on the technology in the health domain. So ICT for health, and so there was this spin-off, and that was a hard call that we have to take, because we were competing with each other in various grants and various award events. 2 of our technology were in last 3, and the agri domain was always winning, and the health domain was lying behind, just because of both technologies from the same organization. So that was the hard call that we took, that we will concentrate, 6 of us will concentrate on the agri domain, food processing domain, while 2 of them went away, and they had their separate venture, which was also incubated in Sign in IIT. KRNX is the name, and they are doing very good now. And I will not say setback, but it was hard to let go the friends from the group, but it was needed. It was the commercial decision that we had to do. Also, the pivot that we took from technology to food was very difficult one, because all of us were the technocrats, and we didn't wanted to go into this trading route. to sell the vegetables, sell the dry vegetables. We were this like upon technology banayenge, we will take the patent, we will sell the patent and all that. So, but due to the need of the business, we have to shift to trading or selling of the dried product. So that was also again a hard call where we have to put the company's interest or the organization's interest ahead of our personal interest. So that was one hard thing. Again, when we went on to raise the fund, so the seed fund was comparatively easy because some of these agencies were already behind us before even we started the active fundraising. But the Series A was quite difficult, and we are still in the process because at this scale, after the Series A and henceforth, the scale will matter the most. So what will be the scale at which we can take this? And when we say scale, we just don't want to grow in terms of revenues. We want to grow in terms of impact as well. So that's very hard to put in front of these commercial funding agencies. So especially we didn't wanted to go to the VCs because their concentration was completely on the growth and not on the impact. So to finding a right partner to fund was also very crucial, and we struggled a lot. So it took almost more than 12 months to reach to the Series A level to get the term sheets out of these players. So that was one more thing, and some minor setbacks are always there. So some of our technologies fail, some of the villages, there are some local issues by some local politicians. So we have to close that village unwillingly and shift to some other geography, some other village. And this keeps on happening, but this is part and parcel. So we take it on chin.
Yeah, thanks Ashwin for the candid response. So just a small clarification when you say impact. So is it so that in some sense you are doing a fairer sharing of the whatever value add or profits? So what is the exact nature of your business? I mean, is it like there are so many different types, social enterprises there. So how do you describe your venture? I mean, what exactly is the...
So again, we are startup when the startup word was not buzzed in 2012-13. So we are a growth level startup now. In terms of registration, we are a private limited company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ben?
Thanks. Thanks, Mr. Ashwin. It was a very good presentation.
Thank you.
I just have one question regarding the placement. So most of Sitara students you would have known also when you were here pick a non-Sitara job after they complete or sit on other placements, mostly because of they don't understand the potential of profits and or paychecks that can be made in this rural environment. How do you compare that? You would have seen your batchmates also sitting in big high placement jobs and stuff, but how do you compare yourself? I think in a more qualitative fashion, because I'm not going to ask you a paycheck, but it's sometimes disheartening to see our good students ending up in corporate jobs, which is sometimes against the rural. So we cannot stop them. But what kind of advice would you give them?
So definitely, because especially after the pandemic, there is huge shift towards the semi-urban areas as well as rural areas. So many of my friends are doing work from home. They are sitting on their farm and like earning 20 to 25 lakhs LPA. So again, sorry for digressing. I think there is a lot of scope in the rural area, especially even if we don't want to look from the impact angle. So this is a huge space. So we just calculated a small village of say 80 to 100 households is producing products worth 10 plus CR per annum. And even if we set a adat over there, that is the procurement center, it's a huge thing. A single village is producing 10 CR worth of this thing, produce over there. So there is huge potential, and I am not at all saying this from a socialist angle. I am purely saying this from a commercial angle. But again, we want this glossy world, and again, everybody is having their own life choices. Some of us feel that we are very comfortable being at the ground. Some of them feel that they want to go to the Pulse area, they want to live in Hiranandani and so on. So these are the life choices, and I think the life choices decide what you do with your career. But the paychecks that we are earning right now, so typically my career paychecks came from top to down. So when I left my job in Kirloskar, I was in Kirloskar, they were giving me something in the range of 15 lakhs in 2011. And after that, I joined for a brief period. I joined a research organization which was paying me like 2.5 lakhs per annum. And then I joined S4S, like we started S4S commercially, and we were taking something in the range of 10,000 rupees per month. And that too was not very assured. So the graph of paycheck is downwards in my case, but I enjoyed whole journey. And again, it's again a personal choice. But I feel that being a Sitara student, coming from a very diverse background and having multidisciplinary knowledge with a context of rural understanding, it's a very niche place. And going with this skill set in a corporate job is west of this skill set in all terms. So even if they go for the startup like us, when we get the funding, we will be happy to recruit people from Sitara.
Thank you. Thank you.
And there are many startups like Ninja Cat and all that. Those who are working in the rural space, definitely that would be win-win for the Sitara students as well as for that startup.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ashwin. I mean, I'm sure your family also has a major role to play in supporting you and encouraging you in this journey, right?
Yeah, definitely. So the parents never asked me question of what you are doing. So the only question was, are you enjoying this? And will you sustain? And will you need money from home? So I said, no, I will sustain and I am happy. So they are happy. So there was never a pressure. So, and this is true for all of 6 co-founders. So we never had this question ki ab kya hoga. So there were too many low points in the journey of S4S, and still they keep on coming on daily basis. But again, our family is very comfortable, and we are in depth for it to them.
Any other questions or comments? Yeah, Harshit.
Sir, thank you for such great insights in this field. My last question would be, can you give some idea on how this procurement thing for food processing industry is done other than your way of doing it or providing it?
So currently, the traditional way is going to the APMC where there are these auctions happening, or to the adults, the private APMCs or the private buyers. So sorry, the farmer take their produce to these places. They show the quality of the produce is checked depending on the moisture, the appearance, the contaminations, and all that, and the rate is quoted. And there is this one thing that if the farmer wants the cash or the immediate payment, 2% is deducted from the amount. So it is paid, or the farmer has to wait for typically 8 to 15 days, depending on the geography and the custom in that area. So this is how typically happens. In our case, once the deal is finalized, the payment is done in the account of that farmer within 24 hours. And there is no 2% deduction. I hope I'm clear with the question.
Yeah. And one more thing, when you started this company, what was your approach on projecting demands?
From demand from the customer side?
Demand from the industry, food processing industry.
So because my co-founders had background of food processing and they are PhD or MTechs or BTechs from ICT. The ICT had very good network with the industries, especially with the food industries. So that helped us a lot to understand the problems and needs of the food processing industry. So we talked with the people, we understood them, their needs, we understood their processes, and we also did some consulting jobs, consulting assignments with these food processing industries, where we provided insight into either lowering down the energy or lowering down the OPEX of the whole process by some interventions and so on. And because of this, we got good understanding of this segment, food processing industry, and also the people were comfortable in discussing their needs, and from that we devised various solutions, various ingredients or various SOPs to address their needs, the food processing industry needs.
Okay, sir. And can you tell what is your market value proposition? Means how good you are in comparison to other, and what is that?
In that terms, because this is very different kind of business, so there are no direct competitors as such to compare. So to one where we can compare, as I said during my presentation, so whole dehydration industry of India, like 90% of it is situated in Mahua, Bhavnagar, and out of that 90%, again 90% of it is only onion dehydration in that specific area. So Mahua is doing, I think, 95% of the global dehydration of onion. So and even though at this scale they are stagnant now, they cannot lower down the energy cost. So if I'm right, they cannot. They are finding it difficult to use the Indian coal for running the plant. So they are bringing in coal from Malaysia and unloading it at Mundra port and taking it from various railway wagons to Mahua and then running the unit. So even after all this circus, their production cost is more than 4 rupees weight basis, and ours is 2.5 to 3 rupees. So if you can take it as MVP, that is our MVP.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think we are running out of questions now. So Priya.
Yeah, thanks, Ashwin. It's really good to see our students doing such work and making full use of what they've learned in Sitara. And of course, obviously we don't want to take all the credit. It's credit to you that you're doing such good work.
Thank you.
So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I hope other students also take inspiration from you.
Definitely.
We'll definitely follow your career trajectory and your over the years. So hope to have you back.
You. Sure, ma'am.
Kiran, you want to say anything?
Yes, ma'am, we can end the session now.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks.